minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here for another episode of Unsung. What are we doing? Who knows? Hopefully there's no bridges involved. Still, we're going to keep that joke running until it's not funny for me anymore. That being said, I am here.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
We're all going to have to suffer.
Yeah.
Just because of that, I'm changing the final scene of this entire thing.
To be back on that bridge.
No
back on
more
that
bridges.
That being said,
I am staking a sign.
I am here with the wonderful little red dot. I'm here with Sam the Wizened Fool. I'm here with John Helpers, and I'm here with Video Store Cowboy. We're playing Elder. Wow, we're playing Emberwind, not Elder Scrolls. But it'd be cool if we played Elder Scrolls. That's a dope game. We're playing Emberwind, and if you guys want to interact with this game specifically, check out down below for the donation section where you can donate to just this game. That being said, Johnny, take us back into Adriel. That's the name.
No, I'm sorry. No.
Oh, it totally is the name. Screw you.
All right, guys, here we go. Previously on Unsung. After entering the Silver Glades from Gelspar via the sky elevator, the group encounters a trio of rift mages working towards some unknown purpose. When confronted, a mixed set of circumstances greet the group. One rift mage attacks with a pair of slither spines, while two others back away from the conflict. Nalos inspires Talon to show one of the slither spines a violent end, forcing another mage to join the fight with a third slither spine. Challenged but not daunted, Red and Cathbad throw everything they have at range while Nalos and Talon continue to engage their enemies face to face. Making it look easy, the group vanquishes all but one mage. Talon engages with the terrified mage, questioning him through straight talk and scare tactics. Meanwhile, Cathbad and Nalos work to then identify the true purposes of the mages. What they find is unsettling. The mages had intended on shutting down the elevator permanently. Questioning the mage further reveals that Lady Machia, one of the members of the Council of Nobles, was behind the plan. Taking the mage prisoner, the group moves from the Silver Glades to the Red Market. The market is on the path to the Port of Dreams and their contact for an airship. That airship will give them transport to the Northern Azure, where it is claimed that they will find the hearthstone that should save Gelspar. However, before they can get to the meeting location, a recent acquaintance reintroduces herself by placing a blade to Talon's neck. The woman from the bridge wants coin for the crystal shard Nalos took from her. Instead, she finds herself intimidated into understanding the true implications of crossing the group. Well, with the frightening image of Cathbad's unadorned face and the knowledge that the Desterosi coin could mean her salvation or death, the group moves on to find their contact as we fade in. Now, you guys are in the Red Market. You're moving back from sort of the alleyway back into the sort of the market proper.
Before we leave there, hold on. I got something I got to do. Besides,
didn't you take your captive?
But there's one other thing. So if you recall, I made sure she did not get that knife back. It's still on the ground, and I want to go and pick it up now.
Okay.
Because we disarmed her, and I kicked it away from her to make sure she didn't get it, and then she left without picking it up. So I pick it up. Is the blade actually poisoned?
How would you know this?
I'm a merc.
How would you know this?
We dealing poisons and all this stuff all the time. I've probably counted my share of poison blades during my tour of duty.
Sure, I'm sure you have, but still, how would you know this?
Looking for discoloration on the blade. Usually unless it happens to be a clear liquid of some kind, I may actually take a little bit of a taste at the tip to see if it tastes bitter or pungent or something else, not just like metal.
Smell it. Is it sticky?
I could smell it. Yeah, true. Is it sticky? Exactly. Feel, touch, taste, smell. Yeah. Just
taste it and you die.
Yeah.
Maybe not taste.
Well, why don't you give me just as bad? So
Why don't you give me either a sleight of hand or an insight check of some kind?
How about I use focus because it's the same score as insight, and that makes more sense to me.
Why would focus make more sense than insight?
Because I'm studying the blade, and focus seems to make more sense for studying the blade to see if I can ascertain whether it's poisoned or not. Insight to me is more. It's a 13 either way, so I'll be rolling under a 13. Let's put it down.
Let's do that.
Okay, and I roll for the first roll of the evening. Is 11. It's under.
Nope, it's not poisoned at all. In fact, there's absolutely nothing about the blade other than the fact that there's a little bit of blood, near the hilt that you taste as you kind of.
Well, I've had plenty of experience, my own blood and other people's. Okay, so she was all right. Well, I mean, the blade still could have opened my throat, so she wasn't bluffing about that part. But, clever minx. Is it? I suppose it's particularly kind of a crappy blade, isn't it? It's not really worth keeping, I would expect.
There are some nicks along the blade. And it definitely is not as sharp as you would expect it. However, the pointy end does poke things.
Yeah, you could poke well. Yeah, exactly. I'll hang on to it for now. All right, we can get going.
Okay, so you find yourself walking, sort of from behind the fermented milk stall where you had the encounter with the young woman, and you find yourself moving back towards the market proper. Before parting with Maddox, he'd given you specific instructions about where to meet Hobbs inside of the market. You were supposed to meet him at a particular stall or near a particular stall near the entrance that is the connecting sort of between the market and the Port of Dreams. However, there's no sign of him. As you're kind of beginning to loiter there, you begin to take in sort of the stalls that are around you, and you hear the various vendors hawking their services and wares. Does anybody want to take any interest?
Not at all.
Red's all grumpy right now, so he's just like following the group, all sullen.
What does this guy look like, or this person look like?
We're not really sure because no one really asked. We were told he would like make contact here. So,
Hobbs in the market. Anywhere in the market?
At a particular stall.
Johnny, can you?
But he didn't tell us which stall.
Ironically, it is a weapons maker. Their stall.
What was said about this guy? I would have been listening, but I mean, Nalos would have been listening.
But Mike wasn't.
But not Mike.
But for me, that was 3 weeks ago. For me, that was 3 weeks ago. And I don't remember.
For all of us, it was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Gee, let me go back and take a look at the notes from that particular encounter.
Last week's notes say Clan Grant Assassins Centipede equals Slivered Spine. That's all I have for notes.
Okay, all right. I have some notes here. Let's see.
Please enlighten us.
And please let it be better than Mike's.
Somebody's got, okay, you got Potion of Heroism. There's Rift Mages, Slither Spines.
It's Mike all over again. This is terrible.
Piper, right? Port of Dreams, Hob and Ship. Hob at Ship.
Nailed
I'm
it.
sorry.
Well, at least you wrote down Hob, so good for you. Yeah.
I did. I have Hobbs twice. Hob at Ship. That is what that says.
I like how many doodles there are on that page.
Yeah.
Are you joking? That's nothing. This is my life story. Okay, no, but it does. It just says Hobbit ship. So at the Port of Dreams. So we're not supposed to meet him at the ship. We're supposed to meet him at the market.
First.
Oh, okay, and we're going.
What?
We're going to the ship with them. I'm not sure why I wrote Hobbit ship.
Hob is the captain of the ship.
I think he's taking us to the ship. I think.
First,
what are we doing here?
First, I just want to say, Dot, will you take notes in every one of my campaigns and do those doodles? I think that's fantastic. I think you should have a camera on your notes and do like a squad stream where you're just like,
guys, if you want to do, you want to see Dot's notes.
There's a really.
If you want to see Dot's notes, go to
patreon.com/dot. Look at this one. I literally filled every space between the notes I took.
Are you sure it's not code of some kind?
This is what my brain looks like, everybody.
All right. Second, I have jumped back through eons exploring on this long document and looked at my notes of what it says for what exactly that he said, to which he responded with, "Go to the Port of Dreams and wait outside a shop called the Peerless Pier. My contact Hobbs will meet you there, or contact Hob will meet you there. He is handling the arrangements for your airship."
Airship. I missed the air part.
We are on a floating island.
Yeah, the ship part. I missed the air part.
Get the important part. I think it's going to go under.
Question though, Johnny, do we call them airships, or for us are they just ships? I can't imagine there are a lot of water ships.
That. Okay, so I think that is probably still something that, in sort of the folklore and the folk tales and the stories from books that would have existed prior to sort of what was the cataclysmic event, the concept of ships would have been something that it's still understood or known. You are more than welcome to elaborate on that particular point if you'd like to, and the difference between ship and airship, or if they're really the same. In this particular case, you would know that it is an airship in difference to the fact that it travels through sort of the azure, the sky.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Okay.
That was a good answer for what was mostly a
yes or no expectation.
question.
Say a half-assed question. Yeah.
Wow. So we've made it to this marketplace and to the stall, the Peerless Pier.
Yes.
Is this like an open-faced stall, or is this like a shop?
It's an open-faced stall.
Who's manning it?
There does not appear to be anybody manning it right at this moment. You hear the hustle and bustle coming from the back. Like there's like the front face that's and there's like a counter and it's got not curtains but like a tent like sort of material, canvas material, and then there's flaps that lead into a back, and you hear the hustling and bustling in the back.
How do the weapons look out here?
The weapons look really good. They're quite choice pieces of sort of blades and that kind of a thing.
You said there's like an open stall and there's like a flap situation, and then there's noises coming back from the flap.
That's correct.
What's on the stall besides weapons? Is there a small bauble, a tiny dagger, something of the kind?
Nothing at all.
There's nothing on the stall?
Mm-mm.
Okay. What's on the outside of the stall?
Just a sort of wooden sign that's been what appears to be wood burned and then sort of weathered with some sort of stains that says the Peerless Pier.
Okay.
So we're at the right place as far as we are aware. In casting back to our memories, the eons that the GM mentioned.
I think Nalos ship that. Nalos doesn't have time for this shit. We have a
Ding ding! We ring the bell.
Yeah, we have an airboat to catch, and he just walks. I assume whatever, skyboat. He has. I assume there's an entranceway to the stall. He walks in and through the tent.
Red will follow behind, and he's like carrying his spear high on his shoulder the way he normally does, so it kind of like occasionally catches on the top of the stall.
Hello.
I exchange a glance with Cathbad and just going to wait outside since we can probably hear him talking in there.
Okay, and what is Cathbad doing just before we start
this? Where's our prisoner?
Oh, he said, I got him. Don't worry.
Do you have her? Oh, okay, I'm going to stay with him. Him. I'm going to stay with the two of them.
Oh, yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm just going to.
We'll let Mr. Seneschal here.
It seems rude to simply
barge in unannounced. Yeah.
Yes,
exactly.
I will wait my turn.
But Mr. Noble there probably knows what he's doing, so we'll let him hit his head.
So far in social situations, Nalos has not steered Red wrong.
Except for almost getting us kicked off the job by trying to hide the crystal. But other than that, it's been.
But it worked out.
Yeah, luckily.
It worked out great for me.
After I smacked you in the head.
It worked out great for me. I struck a deal. There were coins exchanged. There were bargains made.
Yeah, your negotiating stance is at least something to be desired. But anyways.
For everyone but me, it does.
Being a place of potential interest, considering the fact that, sketchy shit's going on that we're involved in, is there, are there people watching? Can I just hang out and try to be normal and see if anybody else is watching the stall? Were we followed?
Really, Dot? Can you hang out and be normal?
I know. Well, to hang out, yes. To be normal,
I changed my mask.
Okay. Well, okay.
I rest my case.
The smiley face.
You got me. It's the Pikachu one. Just put that on.
I'm just kind of I'll try to be indiscreet at least just to see. Listen, eavesdrop on the conversation happening behind canvas, but watch our backs basically.
Oh, I'm already. I noticed I'm already watching.
Yeah.
And that's what he says. He knows you putting your mask on, trying to look inconspicuous.
Yes.
You know, you exactly. And just like,
this is my nice mask.
Awesome. I'm keeping an eye out. Don't worry. It's all good. Why don't you maybe see if you can get a listen to what they're talking about back there, if anything?
Hello.
Hello. Oh,
Hello.
wait,
Yes.
wait, no, you're not supposed to be back here, sir. Please, I will service you.
Listen, I'm looking for a hob. Is that a man?
Who?
Hob.
Who? What? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Are you hob? Besides, sorry.
No. My name is Jeffrey. I'm Jeffrey. This is my.
Shut up.
Excuse me, sir. Get out of my stall before I call the city watch.
You could call them. Is there a hob here? I was told to meet a hob here.
I've never been arrested.
Smooth. I'm looking at Cafe, just smooth.
Who are you? He looks over at Red. It's this portly, sort of old man, with bald and sort of, hanging down, hair, kind of, sort of hanging towards the back. And he kind of looks over. What? You? We don't usually get, monks in our sort of our setting. And no, you guys, you must leave. Come, please, go.
Listen, I'm going to leave, but I need you to tell me where I can find Hob, and then I'll leave.
I'm really sorry. I don't know any Hob of any. I don't.
I'm just going to be honest with you. It'll probably be easier to just give Nalus what he wants. It tends to take longer when people don't just do that. And in the long run, they tend to give him what he wants.
That's true. What he says is true. And you can always trust a monk.
And he looks back to Red and he says, well, how can I give him something that I don't actually have? I don't know this Hob person.
Okay.
That is an excellent philosophical question.
Well then, I propose a counter offer. We were told to come here and specifically meet a man named Hob. So we're going to hang out here. If you don't think that... and he moves the tent flap back. Like, he kind of brushes past Red and, like, reveals Cathbad. If you think that our presence outside might be bad for business, then I would suggest you provide a place for us to sit. Or else we'll just hang out right there. Your call.
Intimidate him.
Okay.
Jerk.
Oh, my intimidate is not high.
You're so mean.
I know.
Wait a minute. You could intimidate him if you do something else. This is much in the same way that this has happened before. If you give me something else that really inspires leadership, I'll let you roll leadership.
No, I think it's intimidate. Now doesn't have time for this shit. We got stuck fighting stupid wizards with their stupid worms. We had to walk all the way around the damn forest. We had to deal with the alley situation. He's tired of this shit. It was supposed to be get on the bridge, walk across the damn island, get on an airship. And it's taken like the whole better half of a day. He's done with this. So I think
Somebody's
it's intimidating.
grumpy. He's so grumpy.
He must have heard.
Oh my Christ.
Eat.
That's a critical.
Damn.
Seriously, I'm not looking to cause any kind of an issue. But if we could just wait for
the one he's already started.
Jeffrey looks at you, looks out towards Cathbad. Cathbad, from behind the flap, you see this small, diminutive, just really small sort of, figure, kind of, old man looking at you with wide eyes. Do you have a reaction?
Yeah. Well, first off, I lean over and go, am I bad for business?
I don't know.
Me either. Why
That's
are you
certainly
scaring
what
this
Nalus is.
man?
Listen, he doesn't know where Hob is. Hob's not here. We need
So
a place
you-
to wait.
So isn't it possible that they just told us to meet here and the poor merchant has no friggin' clue as to what we're doing or why and doesn't even
No,
care?
I agree. I just
It's-
asked that he give us a place to sit and wait.
Excuse my
Idiotic friends?
My Nalos.
friend. What I think he's trying to say is
Poorly.
he has a dagger, and I like jab for this second, like this extra dagger you picked up. Just a second. He calls Hob. He's a little kooky in the head, and we were hoping you could talk to us a little bit about your weapons while we hung out at your stall.
Yeah, whatever.
I changed mask to my angry face.
I hope that's directed at Nalos, not the shopkeeper.
Is Are you trying to undo his intimidation?
I'm trying to intimidate him to leaving the poor old man alone. Like, just come out here and let's have a second to pause. He's also got but that's not going to happen if you make him poop his pants. So, leave the poor man alone.
What's your intimidate, Cassad?
Well, that's actually not true. I might actually have a little bit of intimidation.
Should be at least an 8. So
I have an 8. Yeah, it's an 8.
there you go.
Same.
What's your willpower there, Nalos?
6.
Okay. I'm feeling like this is the kind of thing where we're gonna have a roll off, but you at a tie. So both of you are gonna have to work your roll. Roll an intimidate. Roll a willpower.
Okay.
And
Intimidate.
whoever succeeds, it happens.
I don't.
Okay.
succeed.
I don't.
And if it doesn't
they
succeed
both
and you get a
fail.
tie, then it's just going to be determined by the numbers themselves.
Oh,
15
you
and
got
16.
the 15 and a 16. Neither of us made the intimidation. I think we're just staring at each other. At this point, the will is that what's next?
No,
No,
it's
no,
my
he
will
has to
versus
roll will
your
against,
intimidate.
against your intimidation.
Oh,
So okay, so both of you failed, but because Nalos' his willpower is actually lower than your intimidation, I think that he's still not too terribly intimidated by you, so I think he just kind of rolls with it.
come on, just come talk about your dagger named Hob.
Yeah, I don't actually care where we stay. I just asked if he'd give us a place to stay.
What?
And he starts to walk out of the tent.
Man's shop. Am I?
Are we sure he didn't take like a shot to the head in the last battle or something?
I
I'm
think
starting
he's-
to wonder.
I think he's grumpy.
Listen, Red is very angry right now. You, no offense, in public society, you look like you, which is like someone from the Silver Glades, clearly.
I am in no existential crisis at the
That's
moment.
fine. And Talon has fought with everyone he's talked to since the day I met him, which was only yesterday.
Well,
Did we see anybody watching this place? Because I'm sure we're making a scene.
You are absolutely seeing a bunch of people like making a scene. And as the three of you are sort of arguing about this, now I'm
three, exactly. Let's be clear about that.
Where is Red? Where is Red in all of this?
So like Nalos is like at like the entrance to the tent, right? Or to the stall, right?
Okay.
Red's just like right behind him because he was like following him out, but then Nalos stopped. So Red's just like holding his spear with his like tattered robes.
I imagine that it's like too short, so the spear, it doesn't poke through, but it just like pokes the tent top up.
Exactly.
Okay. So while the three of you are doing, having this sort of like weird sort of interaction, and Red is just sort of like getting caught up, the Rift Mage starts to speak up and says, "Hey, what's your name?" Talking to Talon. Hey, what's your name?
You're gonna call me Talon.
Listen, if I tell you something, will you let me go?
Pulls the rope away from those two so they can continue bickering over there.
Yeah.
It depends on what it is now, doesn't it?
You see that guy over there? And he kind of nods over. Well, with his bound hands, he's just kind of like nodding over. And you look over and you see quite a interesting looking, relatively young man, but not young. Like he's got a a face that looks very young, but there's actually gray in his beard and his hair is sort of scraggly a little bit. And he's just he's eating something. He's eating something like a kebab or something. And every once in a while, he kind of looks over. And when he finally sees you watching him, he winks at you and nods his head in a particular direction. So that guy's been like trying to get your attention for like the last minute or two while you guys were arguing. You clearly weren't paying. Look, he's clearly the guy. Can I go now? Just let me go.
You just bought yourself another hour. Good for you. Start yanking him along as I go by. Like, come on. And I start heading off toward him.
What do you mean another hour? Wait, no, I'm going to city watch.
Every word you say diminishes that hour by 1 minute. Speak at your own peril. Let's go.
You can see him sort of like
heading toward the guy. And all I see to those two is, come on. And I just start heading towards the dude. The kebab eating dude. I'm not even waiting for them. I don't care if they follow me. I'm heading that way.
Oh, I'll definitely be aware of them. If he starts to move somewhere, I'm like, okay, where is he going?
Yeah.
So the kebab
protesting rift mage behind me, and we start heading off towards some guy eating like kebabs. Literally, that's what happens.
So the kebab eating gentleman continues to do that as he peels off from his location where he was kind of standing and begins to weave through the crowd. And as he does, as Talon and I believe Cathbat are following, what are Red and Nalus doing?
Are they like Cathbat left too, right? She's no longer.
Yeah, I just like made
I walked by you two and said, "Come on," and kept walking. Cathbat looked around and followed me, and so you and Red are the only ones left at this all.
Oh, all right. Well, have a good day. And he waves to the old man and proceeds out of the tent.
Red,
I don't understand.
Thank you for your time.
Red just walks right out following Nalus, but this time, like coming out, the spear catches a little bit and just rips through as he's just walking out.
Oh God! Cathbat goes. I'm sorry. Runs back and puts 1 gold down.
As you put 1 gold down, the tent itself begins to start to collapse around you, and you're able to just kind of skirt your way around as the tent just
puts the gold, steps back, and
God,
that's hilarious.
And he says, "Where's the watch?" And from a distance, you can hear him still yelling as the 4 of you begin to follow this sort of weird, enigmatic individual, just sort of weaving his way through the crowd, eating a kebab, heading towards the entrance to the Port of Dreams.
Where are we going?
Oh my God.
Are we following someone? What's happening?
Just follow me.
Oh.
Do I see where he got the kebab from?
Important questions.
But you do see other kebab vendors along the way.
Oh, kebab vendors.
Would you like to buy a kebab along the way?
Yeah, Red's by the end of like a couple like steps down the road, Red's like eating a kebab too.
No one sees him get it. He just has one.
Yeah, he just like has a kebab.
You hear like that.
And so you continue to follow him along and make your way into the Port of Dreams as he kind of weaves his way, and the crowds begin to thin a little bit. You're out of the market, and there are these buildings, these ramshackle structures, and some of them are well designed, well made, and some of them are just essentially shacks, on top of the platform that is sort of the lay of the land right here. And it feels like you're walking on game planks, or you're walking between sort of open areas. You can hear the wind sort of howling under you, but you can't actually see it. And after a certain point, as you kind of follow him back and forth through this maze, you see him sort of standing there, just down at the end of what looks like to be an alley, and he's kind of got he's standing with his back and chewing on a kebab, and it has opened what appears to be like a secret sort of portal, or a door in the bottom part of like this this wall, and you can see open, and if you were to crouch through, you could get through, and he's kind of motioning you through. He says, and as you get closer, he says, "This way, let's go."
Yeah, well,
okay.
Step through.
I'll go next.
Actually, I'll make my captured rift mage go first.
Yeah.
And then
So as the first of you begins to enter through this little sort of portal, he says, "No names. If anyone asks, I have nothing to do with this little expedition of Kendrick's. Just no names."
Hey, you said no names. Step through.
Great, I was hoping this wasn't a trap.
I guess so. I thought the same thing, and I was like, well, no turning back now.
As you also say Kendrick, so that's something.
Yeah.
So
you almost just got Murder Alley, but let's just go into this tiny weird hole.
Fine. This random guy eating a kebab, nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly.
How unprofessional of him.
These are excellent kebabs, though.
So unprofessional.
So worth it. All right. So on the other side is
as Red steps inside and sees Talon and his charge and Cathbad, as I believe Malice is kind of bringing up the rear. You hear the slight groan of a hound kind of sniffing up and starting to take interest in your kebab, Red. But the dog is too lazy to actually get up off of the ground. And as you're kind of taking in this sort of entire setting, you realize that the room is probably 10 by 10. There is a table and a chair, and otherwise the room is featureless besides the dog, which is laying on a rug of some kind.
Oh, Pooch. Is he friendly?
Very friendly, but very lazy. The dog doesn't even get up to try to get the kebab from Red. So as the four of you get inside, you see the person kind of step in behind you, take a bite off of a kebab and throw it to the hound, as the hound just kind of lazily catches it and just grabs it. And he moves over, and the gentleman kind of moves over and steps in and immediately flips open another door leading down, and he starts to go descend in what appears to be some sort of a stairway leading down below sort of the ground level that you're
elbow the rift mage in the back. Well, go on, follow him.
Stumbling at first. Go ahead.
I have a question, John.
I have an answer for you.
Does Red's what does Red's gut tell him about this situation? I would like to I think so. Red has really high insight,
Okay.
And I don't really think that it's that he's it's not he's super well trained and noticing stuff or anything like that. It's just sort of the mental tricks he was taught at the monastery, and the way he was taught to just sort of be generally aware. Sort of he notices the kind of little twinges in his head when something bad is about to happen, and he's learned to kind of try to listen to those. So I'm wondering if he can see if he's got a good feeling or a bad feeling about this whole situation.
Okay, go ahead and roll me an insight.
Cool. You know what? I'm going to use my owl crit.
What?
I don't remember how these work very well, other than that I roll a D2. So, Mike, you tell me what happens once.
Perfect.
Can I go ahead and explain the owl crit, and then I'm going to make a suggestion.
So you roll a D2. On a 1, you fail horribly. On a 2, you have a critical success.
Oh, crit doesn't matter unless it's in combat, though, in this game, right?
For the most part.
Okay.
There are a couple of cases where I would say that crits actually are going to matter. One of them's coming up. I'm
just going to roll it normal.
Hold on to it, though.
Yeah, I'm just going to roll it normal.
Okay.
That's good enough anyway. I'm rolling against a 14.
So what is Red's gut sort of about this situation? And let me tell you whether the Red's gut is right or wrong in that particular case.
Well, he basically it's just he's kind of looking around a little bit. I don't know. They've been jumped a couple times recently. Everyone seems to be out to get him. He's just trying to be a little bit more aware going down and wondering if this might be a trap as well while he nibbles on this kebab. To outward appearances, it seems like Red is totally normal, right? Because he's just eating. But he is kind of wondering if this might be a trap.
Your gut is telling you that it is not a trap, that you can trust this particular person, and it's because of the dog. The impression that you get from the dog is the dog feels very sort of relaxed in this particular situation. There does not appear to be sort of any outward sort of tension about the circumstances. However, it does strike you a little odd that the only thing in this room besides the dog is a table and a chair, and that there is nothing else there.
Yeah.
And when you kind of take in the room, you realize there's actually not another door. And so the rift mage begins to stumble down, and there's a huge draft of air as it's coming up from this particular, sort of the stairway leading up. And as you descend, several stories worth of stairs, crisscrossing back and forth in this sort of ramshackle, sort of pieced together metal and wood, descent. You find yourself, coming into view finally as you're making this final descent on this one long stairway into what looks to be some sort of like wide berth. And there is this airship. And, staring back up at you as all of you are descending. Well, this is the Gilded Drake. This is your ride, my friends. Please board and let's get you on out of here. It's a fine airship. It's great. It's in complete working order, and it's even got a retractable cannon on the front.
Is it a fine airship or is it a fine airship?
It is a fine airship, because as you begin to kind of take in the sort of the shape of this thing, looking at its various plates sort of attached to sort of the body of it, and you see the sails that are kind of folded in on this the sort of the body of the ship, you really see that there's a lot of damage to it. There's some rust spots. There's some chipped paint. One of the rudders looks to be a little like funky in its attachment in the wire that's sort of attached to, sort of an outward guide for that particular rudder. It gives you pause. It literally looks like a hunk of junk.
I was just going to say that.
The cannon looks like it's in relatively good order, though.
So it's the Millennium Zeppelin, then.
So as the four of you begin to descend, he kind of steps over to sort of the what is the gangway onto the entrance of the Gilded Drake, and it's this sort of porthole that leads you down into the actual airship itself. The entire crew area is basically sort of encompassed inside of this outer shell.
I do not mean to alarm anyone, but I have... Cathbad does not fly. Ever.
Well, that's good, because you're going to be on an airship. The airship's the one flying. You're just going along for the ride.
And excuse my ignorance of airboats. Are they supposed to look like...
Crap? Not usually.
Hey.
I think it has character.
Thank you. It does have character. It's been through a lot, but this is the Gilded Drake. I guarantee you that there's nothing wrong with it. Just let me show you around, and you
sure.
can see him.
Bonk, and a little piece falls off. Yeah, great.
Hey! That's gonna kick off the value of this thing. When you bring it back, I have to resell this thing. Please, come on.
Could you just fire up the Grilled Drake and get us from point A to point B?
Oh, are you flying us?
No, I'm not. I'm just telling him to get whatever this Grilled Drake is off the...
Could I fly it?
That's a question for the rest of the group.
That was an in-character question.
Oh!
I thought he was flying it.
That was my intention, pointing at...
Well, can I fly
That's
it?
Hob.
He pokes his head out.
Can you, Red?
Well, we'll find out.
He pokes his head out.
That does not fill me with confidence.
I'm not going anywhere with you guys. You guys are taking the ship and going. I mean,
Excellent.
Oh, no. No. Catbag walks up and grabs some undershirts and says, you tell me we are to fly in heap of junk with no captain?
I'm not a captain. I'm not even really a good pilot. You don't want me.
So how do you know so much about...
And I'll be the pilot.
Yeah, I'll be the captain.
Your gods I don't believe in.
I changed my mask to my angry face.
Okay.
Made of the skull of a giant python.
It's very, very simple. Okay? It's very simple. Look, I'll be the pilot. Malice can be the captain. Yeah. Talon is very scary, so he'll make a good first mate. Well, you don't like flying, so...
Bosun.
Face your fears head on. Face your fears head on. You can go up in the high part and be the lookout.
Oh.
Crow's nest. Yeah, that's perfect.
This
Face your fears head on, Cathbat.
is not about facing fears. It's no time to play pretend. You cannot tell me you have ever flown. Have you flown? Or you?
Yes,
Any?
I've flown.
I'm constantly flying.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
Have you?
dozens of times.
Are you lying to me?
No,
I am how they say gullible.
I've casually flown dozens of times. Have I ever
We're also
captained a
flying
ship?
right here, right now.
True, the entire island is
No. Cathbad is not flying right now. Cathbad is feet on ground that is flying.
Yes.
And soon it'll be wood that is flying.
That makes Cathbad nervous.
Listen, I've never captained a ship before, but I've flown on at least a dozen.
So you have been a passenger.
Yeah, that's considered flying.
Oh, well, if Cathbad wants to be a captain, question, now let's do nobles in this part of the world fix ships? You could be the shipwright.
No, they don't. They have shipwrights for that.
Hold on.
Do we even know where we are going? How to get there?
Oh, we'll get there.
Hob pokes his head up finally and says, well, actually, I do. And he holds up something. And he says, this is going to help you get there. But in order to get this, you need to come down here. I need to show you what's going on the ship. And then I need to get out. You guys need to go. Your window of opportunity is closing, guys.
We would come down to the dock or whatever. I thought we were all standing next to this piece of crab arguing about whether to go on it or not.
Well, he's across the gangplank and down in through the porthole into the ship. And now he's poking his head out saying, I've got this. And he rattles it a little bit. And he steps back inside to the ship.
Oh, Red's getting on this ship. This ship looks great.
I get onto it like I'm dipping my toes in cold water.
It feels weird because when it takes your weight, it kind of, does like exactly what you would expect from being on like a ship on water. It kind of, you feel it kind of sink a little bit and then of course readjust itself, kind of floating there.
Probably like hug the railing a little bit as I like walk my way across it until I get my sky legs.
Nice.
Yeah.
At this point, I think Nalos and I are the only ones still on the dock. And I look at him and say, well, we could cast off right now. Low, so Hob does not hear that since he's still on the ship.
We could.
And I kind of look at Nalos as if he's,
No, that doesn't really get us anywhere. He can't fly. He just said it.
Yeah, he said he was a bad pilot. He didn't say he wasn't a pilot.
Yeah, but Red's probably a bad pilot too. We already have him.
Touche.
That's bad logic.
Yeah.
That is not how logic works.
A little bit of Red.
Probably equally bad. Yeah, let's just go.
A little bit of Red's rubbing off on Nalos.
Well, apparently. Oh God, I'll step aboard. With still the mage is still in tow with me. So.
Yeah, Nalos does one more cursory glance around and then steps on the ship.
Okay, as the four of you make your way inside, you find Hob on the first deck. There appears to be two decks. There's a stairway. There's a ladder that leads down from the porthole into this first deck, and then you see a stairway leading down to the second deck. First deck, the upper deck consists of a cockpit and threadbare quarters for a crew, and you can hear Hob just sort of operating, machinery, in the front of the. In the cockpit, sort of in the front, it's seated down at what is sort of like what makes for a console and / piloting chair. Mm-hmm. There appears to be a little bit more room as you're kind of, there's a little room in there besides the pilot's seat, but otherwise the Gilded Drake's cockpit is quite tiny. If as you walk kind of, take in the ship and you look at the threadbare quarters, there are only 3 quarters and 3 beds. You're going to have to figure that out. And you step back towards the stairway that leads down and you realize that it's some sort of cargo hold. And as you all step in, Hobbs like, so come here if you want to look at this. And he points at, it's the standard controls on an airship. I was told that you guys would be able to fly this. I'm going to get off.
Absolutely.
This is the one point I wanted to kind of highlight for you. If you look at this button right here, this engages the cannon, and then you've got the trigger right here. So I don't know what you're going to face out there, but this is really important.
There is expectation of fly battles.
Cathbad, would you like to be main gunner?
Do I look like I want to be a gunner? I didn't know there would be sky battles. I thought this was a transport operation.
Pirates and such, you run into them occasionally.
Guys, I don't want to hear your names. I'm gonna forget I heard your name. He looks over at Cathbad. No offense.
My name is
I'm gonna remember your face, but I'm not gonna remember your name.
My name is Fourth Red Blossom grows in rocky soil. Nice to meet you.
I don't hear any names, guys. Come on.
Walk him. You point to Hob. Walk him through the controls just really quickly. And what is this? What is the crystal you were holding out? What's up with that?
Oh, and he kind of shakes it. He's like, no, this is not a crystal. This is it's a compass. And he puts it onto the cockpit sort of proper, and he says, and you see that there's a needle that kind of moves. He said, this has got a piece of that crystal that you're going for. It'll tell you. I rig these up all the time for crystal hunters that work for the Council of Nobles. This is just. You follow this, you're going to get there. It's not going to be a problem. I guarantee it. Just follow this. It'll point you in the right direction. And he looks over at Red. Do you think you can follow this? If I show you everything else, you think you can follow the direction that this thing takes you in?
Absolutely. No problem.
I have the utmost faith in him.
We're doomed.
And while the conversation about the compass is going on, Nalos walks over to Cathbad, who's probably freaking out about the potential sky fights. And he says, but Cathbad, now, you've shown your prowess in combat many a time with your ground fire. Now, if you operate this machine, you have an opportunity to use sky fire. And I feel like that's a lot of the same kind of thing.
I will assume your words come from a place of comfort.
Yeah, I have no idea how your magic works. But
it is how you say obvious. But I do not hold this flaw against you.
Right. So, using your magic, I assume you point. I've seen you do it. You point, you say some words, and then people seem to light on fire, and it's very unpleasant for them.
Well, it's a little more difficult.
I'm sure. And I'm sure that the next step is going to be a little bit more difficult. But really, if you grab that and you move it around and you hit the button when you point it at the bad guy, they will also light on fire.
How did Cathbad become gunner?
Well,
I think we're going to have Cathbad become like deck gunner, and I will handle the
left me in a tree. I did not sign up for this.
The other positions are all above deck, where you can see the air whooshing past you.
I abdicate my position as first mate and take gunner position. Thank you very much. Cathbad just got promoted. Congratulations.
Surprisingly, within the last few hours, has become favorite. I'll put my hand on his shoulder. Strange how things change.
Okay.
I'm going to go find High Point, like tree.
Great.
That was what I
on.
That was what I already suggested.
Right.
Plus, Cathbad has good eyes.
I hope you don't have a problem with heights. Have a good day.
That's
and Red gets no respect.
ridiculous.
While this is all happening, Johnny, I turn to the man
in the crow's nest like a cat.
Just like
like in the highest point with no land around her. It's the hang in there kid. Cat, the hang in there kitty.
That's not fair.
I was trying to keep you below deck, but no.
I feel like she's gonna be vomiting if she stays below deck, so we'll just.
It's gonna be either or. You know?
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's bad either way.
Yeah. So, I go over to the man who doesn't want to be known as Hob, clap him on the shoulder, and say, "Let me walk you out." And it's not.
No. I don't think you understand, sir. I'm still trying to get your friend here familiar. I was told that you would have a pilot. I'm sorry.
We're gonna have to. Our window was closing, so hurry it up, and then I will walk you out of the ship. And if I need to make my intimidate roll, I will happily do so.
Well, you can make your intimidate roll in just a second because I'm going to need Red to make me a focus roll.
Right.
To see if he actually focused while listening to the instructions for flying the ship.
I feel like you got this, Red.
Doom.
Everyone
sing the Doom song.
Can I make a knowledge roll instead to just know how to fly a ship?
Is your knowledge better than your focus?
Much.
Okay. Tell me a quick little, like, 1 or 2 sentence story about what Red actually knows about airships.
Yeah, I mean, so Red's been traveling for a good long time now. He's been away from the monastery for at least 4 to 5 years. And also, I mean, like the monastery is not nearby, and I imagine the major mode of travel between big blocks of land is airships. If you guys haven't noticed, Red's kind of the kind of person who's trying to get his nose into everything and learn as much stuff as he possibly can at any given time. So I just find it doesn't seem like it would be too out of character for Red to have spent a lot of time just like bothering pilots about wanting to know how to fly the airship anytime he's been on an airship.
Roll me a knowledge check.
Awesome. Let's find out if Red is a good learner.
I'm very curious about how this is going to go.
Yeah, it makes 2 of us.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Use the Alcrit
This is the one where I think I might want to use the Alcrit. Because it's really funny if either he critically succeeds or critically fails at this roll. Would both be amazing outcomes.
I really want you to succeed with this Alcrit at this point because
I really
think
want you to fail so bad.
All right, I'm rolling it.
You succeeded.
Oh, I succeeded.
All right. So, here's how good of a pilot you are. You are going to roll advantage anytime there is a piloting check.
Wow. Nice. All right.
So, by the end of the conversation with Hob, he realizes that you actually know more about the ship than he does, and he starts to get uncomfortable, and he's like, and he points over to Tom. I'm sorry. It seems like your friend. Yeah, let's just go ahead and let's make this happen, and sort of, you know. And he starts to move towards, you know, sort of the porthole leading out.
I am somewhat mollified that Red can like rattle off, you know, altimeter and this and that, and like the controls. Yeah, this is pretty standard. You know, I saw this on a blah blah blah. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, he's probably like, you know, this is an interesting ship. It seems like you've got a parts from and lists like one.
Exactly, yeah. And I could swear that came from
exactly.
Is this a cargo cruiser benefit? That's amazing. Yeah, there's all that stuff. Exactly. All right, me and Hob and the Rift Mage climb back up exit the cockpit, head down to when we're back on the deck.
Okay.
On the ship, everyone's out of the ship. Clap the Rift Mage on the shoulder. You done good. So now I have good news for you and I have bad news for you. Good news is I'm releasing you. The bad news is into his custody.
Hey, whoa, second, hold on. Listen, I don't have time. I need to get you guys off of this.
Shut up.
Excuse me?
You were about to make some money. You like money, don't you? Most people do. Do you have a problem with making some money?
What kind of money are we talking about here?
Well, considering you're going to deliver him to the guy you mentioned earlier when we were at the door, I would assume you're going to make quite a bit of it. But for now, I take out 5 gold and slap it into his palm. Consider this a down payment. However, you tell no one else about this. You deliver him. Once you leave here, you go straight to that man and deliver him personally to him. He will reward you generously. Tell him this man, points to the mage, has important information for him. I will be checking with. Oh, go ahead.
No, keep going.
I will be checking with that man you mentioned earlier to make sure that this was done. If it is not, I will come back here and I will find you, and you will not like what happens afterwards. But do this job, make some money, get yourself in with him a little bit more. Good things all around, right?
You see him kind of look at you for a second very shrewdly, and you see him do the numbers in his head. And it's at that moment that you realize that there might be something else going on here. Roll me an insight check.
Oh, I expect it. So.
And while this interaction is going on, is anybody else doing anything interesting on the ship?
Red's making his little cockpit area his own. He takes the little charm of perseverance and like hangs it on like whatever version of like the mirror there is.
Periscope.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
can I ask you a question, a philosophical question? Are you a leaf on the wind?
yeah, exactly. That was actually exactly what I was thinking of. It's like pulls out some like little like toy and like places it on the dash.
Four-legged lizard. Like, okay. Oh,
Thank you, Sam, for giving me the opportunity to be able to ask you that question. Okay.
Prepared, pilot.
Yep, I think we're ready to go. Are we ready? Everyone good?
Well, we haven't cast off yet, so not quite.
I feel like Talon is still not on board, and if we cast off without him, I will hear his shouts from the sky.
That's true. Do you know, you're the captain, do you know the things you're supposed to say for us to go?
I do. You want to give me a crash course?
Yeah, like Red like starts like walking through like the stuff that you like.
How to be a captain.
Like,
They're really grumpy and they yell a lot. I made my check by 6.
Okay, you made your check by 6. All right, I before I respond with that, just real quickly, Cathbad is now in the observation area.
Yeah, there's like a high point or like a crow's nest. She's probably, those horrible like children's gyms with the nets and things. And how kids are always like trying to kind of climb them. She's making her way to the top, but it is not graceful. It's super awkward.
Okay.
Love it.
She's gonna get there though.
Okay.
Oh God, hilarious.
All right, we'll get back to you in just a second. So as you're kind of having this conversation with him, Talon, you see him sort of, doing the math in his head, and there's a little bit too big of a smile that comes across his face that you notice. He's trying to hide it, but he realizes that there's probably some extra money to be made, and he's not very good at hiding the fact that there is that's something.
Well, I just told him there would be, so yeah.
No, he it's really obvious that his intentions may not be as just about the lucrative nature of just what you've told him.
Okay.
And so he says, that's really interesting. Interested parties. That person I mentioned. Yeah, that sure. And everything he's saying, he's like, you were damn sure that he is not telling you everything.
Okay. What is
he says? So just let me take him over here. And
he's dressed normally. He's dressed like regular clothes, right?
Absolutely. It's just
shirt, a jerkin, that kind of thing.
Yeah, he's like a shipwright, he's or dock worker, shipwright, whatever, however you want to think about it. He's definitely somebody who would be seen at the docks. Yeah.
Okay. It's so I kind of catch on the interested parties bit he said, and I tell keeping my hold on the Rift Mage with one hand, so I still have the leash to him. Okay. I grab him by the shirt, and of course this is an airship. It's floating, so of course there is space, there is air between the dock and the ship. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Grabbing him tightly, grabbing the shirt, tucking it in, I pick him up and move him over to where he is now dangling in midair. The only thing holding him up is my hand on his shirt. If I were to drop him, well, he knows it's a long way down.
What's going on? I thought you were going to make me money. I thought we were going to. What's that? What the hell is going? I'm not going.
The longer I hold this, the sweatier my fingers get. The sweatier my fingers get, the more chance I'm going to drop you. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. And if you value your life at all, I suggest you answer them quickly. What did you mean by interested parties, plural?
I'm just
and I let him slip like an inch.
Hey! Look! You're not the only person who's interested in a crystal for Gelspar. You're not the only person interested in Gelspar today. I'm sorry.
Oh, so you sold that gentleman out. Let him slip another inch. Oh, my fingers are getting.
Hey, no! Come on!
I've been holding the sword all day. I don't know how much longer I can hold on to you.
Look, you're paying me enough to make sure that you actually get out of here okay. What happens out there, that's completely separate, all right?
But
You'll get to the crystal. You'll get to the crystal. I promise.
And what will be waiting for us? I let him slip another inch. Oh, I
don't know. I was paid for some information. I gave the information. I was told to give a guarantee. That's all. I don't have anything else. I don't know what. Coming back is going to be a challenge for you. That's all I know.
Who paid you? And again, let him slip another inch. And now he's just like getting his feet are like below the dock.
Look, you can kill me.
Think carefully.
Or they're going to kill me if I reveal. It involves, face paint and masks. Does that tell you who I'm talking about? Jeez.
And I throw him onto the dock. Oh, and then I walk over and take my 5 gold back. Give me that. Come on, take the mage, go onto the ship. Is there any mooring lines or anything we need to cast off here?
Hey, look, I got it. And he starts to move over and starts to remove the mooring lines. Cathbad, in your observation, you were able to see all of this, and it causes your sort of fear and frenzy for a second as you watch this exchange. But as you were watching this exchange, you also noticed that the rudder is kind of moving a little bit, and that the wire is really kind of frayed and starting to snap as it kind of frays as little like pieces of sinew are just kind of popping off of it.
Guess what? I made it. I like yell down to them.
Good work.
I'm like looking for affirmation. I'm like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the rudder, or she wouldn't know that term, the fin of the ship is damaged.
I can't hear a word she's saying from up there.
I can hear. I'm on the deck. I glare at.
And I was like, yeah, yell down.
You and I are gonna have a talk when I come back. And I point at Hob, and that's what I say. All right, go to the aft of the ship and take a look at what she's referring to.
Yeah, I'm like pointing.
So you can see that there's a line sort of running through the ship that is coming off of sort of the stick that helps steer the actual airship, and you see the line kind of moving, and you see a little bit of slack kind of in it for just a second as it kind of bounces there, and you realize that the line is running out towards the outside of the ship at this point, as you kind of see it. But you see that there's the beginnings of a little bit of fraying going on there.
Okay.
As if the rudder line will snap eventually.
Oh, delightful. What is this? Is this wire? Is this rope? Is this some sort of
It's
leather?
definitely wire. It's definitely wire, but it's frayed. And what you can tell from it is it looks like it's rust or weathered damage. It's not anything that looks like it's been cut at this particular point.
Could I mend it?
How would you like to mend it?
I'm not sure yet, but is that something I could do? Because I have a very high mend, and I have yet to mend anything.
You absolutely could. And I just would like to know how you're going to do it, and then I'm going to totally let you.
Okay. So it's like an aircraft cable. It's like metal.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fraying. Okay. I'm gonna mend it like you would like a frayed wire, which is you use electrical tape. So Catherine's like, I'm coming down. And she like awkwardly climbs down.
Okay.
I'm actually ready to catch her in case she.
Yeah. She's like,
Yeah.
She climbs down for the next 20 minutes.
Whoa.
And you're sure nobles from this part of the world aren't shipwrights, Malice?
No, I mean, there are shipwrights that nobles employ, yes.
She comes over and she reaches into a pouch and she pulls out this leaf, this huge kind of greasy looking slimy leaf, and she begins to just like lick it with this like her like thick saliva, yellow jaundiced saliva.
Watching in a horrified fascination.
And she's like
I can't
licking
look
it.
away.
And yeah, she like slaps it on there and she begins to like roll it around like a tape and use it as a mending like process. And then she reaches in and grabs something else and like seals it off. And she's like, if it works on the vines, it'll work on this. Right?
It's
disgusting.
I cannot argue with your logic there. Yeah.
Roll it.
Okay. I believe I have to get under a 16. Yes.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like I have my mend is stupid high. I think that's probably meant for.
Yeah.
Boom.
Wow.
So like while she's doing this, Red like looks around and is like, believe it or not, that is not the grossest way I've seen a sailor fix a part of a boat.
What kind of
And you hear the riff mates kind of perk up and go, well, what is the grossest way?
Oh God.
I don't. Probably not good for pleasant company. I mean,
There are,
sailors.
I cuff him upside the head. Shut up.
yeah, Catherine, there are some questions left better not asked.
Come on, you and I are going to check out the rest of this
Oh,
boat. All
okay.
right, no, I'm sorry to the rift major. Are you heading back up, or do you want to come with me?
Oh, do any other places look like they need to be mended? Or,
Well, if you'd like to do some sort of an inspection on the ship,
okay, yeah, I'll do that.
You know what? I will assist with that. Come on, you.
I was about to say, I have an insight.
Coming with too, so.
Of 12. So yeah, let's take a look. I want to try to pinpoint some more. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. So based on this, rather than rolling with some, I think you're going to roll with advantage in this particular case.
Go ahead, get that. Well, is your insight? Yeah, go ahead. It's fine.
Well, I rolled over it. So.
Well, it's advantage, so roll again.
Oh, twice. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It is not my luck today. Not for that, anyways.
Yeah, you fixed the rudder cable. I guess that's all. Yeah.
You
Okay.
point to it and I'll fix it, but I don't see it.
All right.
Well, so you begin to take a look, and you're looking around, and you see some some of the plating on the ship. There's some armor, and then there's the sort of the core sort of body of the ship. There's rust points. There's bolts that are that are starting to fray a little bit. You see some movement as the ship kind of moves with it. You see that there's the rest of the rudder cables are working as expected. There's a fair bit of wear and tear, but the ship looks to you like there's nothing else that's going to happen at this particular point. So but you can't really tell if there's anything else that you needed to be focusing on, and so you find yourself back in the ship proper, and you see that Hob is holding on to the last line. He's like, look, I just want you guys to go. Can you get your window of opportunity? It's closing really quickly, guys. You really need to go, otherwise the harbor patrol might actually catch you in this airship.
Red
Let's go.
Red just looks to Nalos expectantly.
What? I'm sorry. It was engage.
And Hob lets go of the airship, the airship from the last line of the mooring, and it's sort of, Red, you feel the ship sort of slip, as it's kind of moving around in the air, and it just you can see that it's now sort of free of motion. And the way that these airships kind of work is that it uses sort of, as you kind of expect, the engine area and everything else. It uses a crystal shard, a rather large crystal shard, hearth crystal, as sort of to keep it aloft and sort of floating, but also kind of uses it. There's like a heat source that's coming off of it that also allows it to kind of propel the ship in a way. And that's what happens is it propels it forward, and the sails and the rudder helps it kind of move in that way. So you feel that the throttle hasn't really engaged yet, but it's just kind of floating there, and you're kind of gliding with it. So what are you doing, Red?
Red's gonna he heard what Hobbs said about the harbor watch, so he's gonna take it slow and steady and quiet at first. He's gonna let it get a little ways out, then he's gonna hit the engines and start to take this sucker out to, I guess, air.
So the way this berth that you're in, actually the exit leads out into what looks like an incredibly large sort of tube or like a pipe. And you descend the ship a little bit from the moor and the docking point, and you kind of bring it out into that larger pipe. And then you see another airship kind of fly by you really quickly at a junction. and you navigate with it. I'd like you to roll me a focus check or something else that you, or a knowledge check, since that's what you used for your piloting. Roll me a knowledge check.
Cool. Let's do it.
And remember that they are at advantage.
Absolutely. Those will both do.
Nice.
Yeah, so Red kind of banks the turn, and he maybe like uses the draft that the other airship like sends out to like help get us like out and accelerated, and then like hits the throttle in time. I think it's very dramatic.
Cathbad probably squeaks a little and covers her eyes.
Now, do we? Is it just like engage with the thrusters? Do we have like a proper sail? I'm like trying to get a good idea of like what these things.
Yeah.
You do have an engine that does provide some sort of thrust, but you also have sails that allow you to power down that sort of engine and just go along with the airwaves. So as you begin to accelerate in the sort of the draft, or the draft of the previous airship, you begin to pick up acceleration even faster than the the sort of what the engine is capable of right now, and you're almost sort of catching up to it. And at the last second, you see this airship just kind of come out in this widening blue hole that just kind of banks off to the side. And as you kind of flow out, this sky is this beautiful sort of bright blue of a sort of a morning. And Red, you have seen this before, and the entire area in front of you is filled with airships. And so you just begin to sail out into all of this. And as you do, you begin to make your slow sort of arc around, and you begin to see all of sort of Adriel sort of, come out in front of you, and you see the celestial plateau, and you see the sort of the silver glade sort of rock and everything else as you begin to kind of float around. And if you guys all look to the game table, as you kind of turn, you're beginning to bank around as you're following the needle, and it takes you under the city, and you find yourself looking at Gelspar as you're making your way towards sort of the across the sort of the city proper. And heading in the direction in the northern azure. And as you do, you find yourself just kind of skimming between the sort of the plateaus, and you see the various chains and lines that are kind of attached to Gelspar as you kind of make your way across, and then head out in that direction, sort of towards the northern sunlight. As the ship is kind of heading out at about noontime.
I think as we're like getting out and picking up speed, Red like lets out sort of like a long tuneful whistle, and he calls out to Nalos and shouts, "Exalted the heaven and glorious the earth, Nalos. It's a beautiful day for flying. I told you this was going to be great."
I'm impressed by everything I've seen so far, like the flying. Cathbad didn't jump off the ship at the last possible second, which I absolutely thought she was going to do.
No. Cathbad is never scared.
No, well, yeah. And I didn't cast off without talent, so it's been an impressive day.
We have all overcome our flaws.
What do you think, Cathbad? I told you, flying's not so bad. It's pretty fun.
It is nauseating and beautiful.
That's what I feel about this entire adventure so far.
For Cathbad, being up in the sort of the observation tower, you look behind you and you see the dwindling sort of city proper as the floating various plateaus and platforms begin to diminish in the distance, and eventually a sort of this gust of cloud, this white and orange sort of cloud, just kind of covers it, and all of a sudden it's gone.
Did I see the glades? It's a separate island, yes?
Yes, it's a separate island that's attached, but it's sort of floating there just off to one side of it.
One of the sides.
And you finally get a chance to see how large it actually is. And it is this massive sort of, landmass. You see various land points, landmarks in there that you recognize. Mm-hmm. And you see creatures moving as just off in the distance, but you're just as it just begins to vanish, you realize that your home is no longer invisible sight anymore. And so as the ship begins to move forward, the azure spreads out endlessly before you. Other than billowing yellow clouds of toxic miasma, there are no landmarks to gauge the distance that you are traveling. According to the gauges on your console there, Red, you are moving quite quickly, and you're able to kind of play with the air currents and just kind of pick up additional gusts to give you more speed. But you realize that without the crystal shard compass that you were given, you might just go on forever and get lost in sort of the floating void that is the open azure. But you're able to see that the needle at first appears to be right in front of you, and then it sort of turns slightly to your right, and you begin to course correct.
Awesome.
What?
Go ahead.
It makes you feel small.
It does, doesn't it? That's why I like ships.
Because you enjoy feeling small.
I mean, glorious is Tynrell's creation, right? It helps put it all into perspective, doesn't it? Where I come from, it's not such a large combination of islands. The Yellow Mountain is mostly on its own.
My island is on its own.
Except for the giant chains that bind it to the rest of the islands.
That was unfortunate.
That was uncalled for.
We'll
Dressing
later.
Nalos. Actually, this for everybody doesn't really matter. If my intelligence gathering is correct, and I sincerely believe it is, judging by the stain we left on Hobbs' pants, he sold us out to the chasers, so at some point we are probably going to be accosted by them on this journey.
Do you mean he sold us out?
As in, he told them about this mission, about where they're probably going to be either trying to trail us to take the crystal from us, or just slaughter us, take the ship, and for spoils or whatever. That's what I'm assuming.
Presumably for a monetary incentive, based on the phrase "sold out."
Oh yes, he said he was compensated. I will be informing our employer of this when we get back.
So we should proceed with caution.
I would say keep alert.
What do we do now?
Fly straight and quickly.
Indeed.
Hold on, I got this one. He said,
all right.
Take it so, Red.
Oh, you were it like cut out. Your sound
did it?
cut out.
Yeah, your sound. You just yelled silently, and we were all like,
Oh,
It seemed like you were on purpose. Like,
no, he turns and says, I got this one. Hold on. Make it so, Red.
nice.
Aye, Captain.
The hours begin to pass. For any of you who have a sort of a chronometer or some sort of timing telling tool, it's difficult to tell how long or it's not difficult to tell, but the hours just really kind of float away, and there's nothing else going on besides. Go ahead.
I got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. So
go ahead.
Yep, I'd like to first of all go down to the hold and check out this the rest of this so-called ship.
All right. What are you looking for specifically?
Anything like leftover cargo or just anything out of the ordinary. I'm pretty much like searching the hold, looking for, I don't know, maybe some sort of weird, I don't know if it's a transceiver or what. That's a little complicated for this world. So
you're looking for anything that's basically hidden?
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, then there isn't really sort of an investigation. So why don't we use a skill that really focuses on, hiding or other, sorts of types of evasion. So let's talk about stealth. Why don't you give us a stealth roll?
All right. You would, wouldn't you? Yep. Okay. Hang on.
Hey man, you're the one who asked.
I know. My stealth is just not superb. All right, well, we'll see what happens.
If you can make an argument for something else, I would love to hear it.
Knowledge sucks. Let's see. I can't intimidate it into revealing anything, so I would prefer using. I would prefer using focus actually, because it's not my stealth. It's actually focus to look for something out amiss, like an open panel, or this board or this section doesn't match up with the outside of the ship. It's that kind of thing. That's what I would prefer to use. So it'd be like knocking on things, looking for hollow spaces, things like that, which isn't stealthy for me.
No, it isn't stealthy. It is definitely a sort of a focus kind of a thing. If you're taking the time to do that, I would definitely accept. If you've got plenty of time, and you're gonna be slow methodical about this. Yes. Go ahead and roll yourself a focus.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a good half hour down here. Unless someone says, "Hey, there's something out there." I'm assuming we're not. Yeah. So okay. Yeah, I will do that. Now let's see if I can actually make the focus roll. That's a critical focus success.
Okay. So you begin to kind of, feel methodically around sort of this cargo hold. And there's a couple of crates of various goods, but nothing that really kind of stands out. Bolts of cloth, just some raw materials for the most part. But you get to a certain point along the floor and you press just in the right way and you hear a pop. And then the board pops up a little bit like this.
Mm-hmm. All right. Take out that crappy dagger the woman gave me and carefully open the board in case something like needles or a knife falls from the ceiling or some crap.
Okay, so as you're pulling it up, you see that there is a small crate of goods sort of in there, and this sort of space under this cargo or smuggling space runs along sort of the bottom of the ship between sort of the outer hull itself and the floor that you're on. It's about a 4-foot space, so there's a fair bit of hold down here.
Yeah.
So you're able to kind of grab and pull this one container out, this one crate out, and it's a lot of fine goods, a lot of fine canned goods. You find a series of bottles that look really interesting. And what you end up finding there is 4 waking draughts.
Nice.
Page 75 in the Skies of Axia book.
I just have to remind myself what that is.
Yes, you should. But so as you're kind of digging in and kind of looking through, because you rolled a critical, you kind of you're sweeping through the box, you're sort of pulling everything out and itemizing it a little bit. You see that there is a nondescript box sort of placed in the back. And as you kind of grab it and you kind of pop it out, you realize that there is a crystal shard from a hearthstone crystal placed in there. And you find little flecks of white paint, in the fingerprint sort of, of that.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Keep the draughts, put everything else back, put the box back in, put the catch, make sure I know how to open and close it again, but then I close it up like everything looks like it was before. And they head back up to the cockpit. Plunk the box down on a counter or whatever, like chunk.
I think Red found like some beat up old leather cap that he's got on now.
Is it a pilot's cap?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like one of the old leather ones, like the football helmet with the flaps.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, like airship captain.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Like Sky Captain of the World of Tomorrow.
There you go. So I plunk it down and open it and say, yeah, we're definitely at some point we're going to be visited by the chasers before this is all said and done.
What makes you say this?
Well, if this, and I point to the little compassy thing with the needle, if that can track the hearth crystal, then someone who has another piece of this crystal can track us, pointing to the box with the crystal in it.
I see.
Throw it over.
No.
Be my guest.
Okay. And he picks up the box and he starts to walk out.
No, Captain subs you.
What?
This is not just a tracking device. It is a rare item that allows our entire entire existence to be.
Yeah, you're right.
She has a point.
If we don't get to the other hearth crystal, the island will fall. And if
So
these
you're
guys get to us first and kill us, the island will fall. So
We
we
are-
sacrifice this for the greater good.
We are sacrificing a huge thing for a what if.
This won't save the islands. This won't save the islands any more than the last crystal we threw at it did.
Yeah.
Trust me,
It seems
a flying
like-
airship is much better than a burning, falling airship.
Much as it pains me, I have to agree with Nellis on this one.
So we are going to toss it.
If they're tracking this, and it's not on the ship anymore, it'll be that much harder for them to track us.
Question: is there? You said we were by other ships. Are there still other ships around? Or
No,
we
there are
flying
another.
alone at this point?
You are flying alone. The last ship that you actually saw in the Northern Azure that was near you was probably hours ago. You have seen small groups of small flocks of flying winged creatures, moving through the skies for the most part. Things that occasionally you would see in the Silver Glades, but other things that you did not recognize at all.
Do you think that I was about to say? Do you think I could call a bird over? Do you think that I have enough of a connection with the, to be able to like beckon one to come over?
Describe to me how that would work for Cathbad, and you can totally make some sort of roll for that.
Okay, if there's like a flock, we've got. Oh wait, I didn't see those. She probably has some kind of like berries or something she pulled out of the glades.
You had a leaf. I'm sure that you've got,
I've got like
food.
Stupid shit. Yeah, okay.
I believe
So
your
she's-
entire
yeah.
outfit's made out of the living shrubbery.
Yeah, I'm just like a mess. Okay, so I, as it comes by, she and tries to call it over with the berry to get it to like communicate with her. Obviously, it can't like speak to her, but in that kind of like animal kinship type way. I'm trying to
So
think.
what kind of a role is this, do you think? I'm really curious because I've got a couple of ideas, but I'm very curious what the druid thinks that she would do.
Okay. This to me is a focus check. It's very druidic focus check.
Okay. All right, that works.
Yeah. The druid is trying to figure out how to communicate with another animal.
All right, fair enough.
Okay. She focuses. That's cool. So that's good actually. It's a 12. So cheers.
All right. So this creature just. What?
I rolled an 11 for my focus check.
Out of 12.
So when describe to us what happens when this winged creature just kind of comes and lands on you and you start the communication with it.
I probably it probably coos and I like pet it. I'm sure it like sits on the edge of the ship versus like on me. It's not necessarily a familiar. And I try to like calm it. And I look to the group and I say, how about a decoy instead?
I'm listening.
I reach for the crystal, like the one we wanted to toss overboard. And I look at the bird and I say, so good. You will help us. You have purpose. And I like set it on its back and I'm going to bind it to the body of the bird. Like its foot. I don't know how big the crystal actually is.
Imagine like a bigger than a toothpick, right?
Yeah. And I say, help it find another place. One fit for more than falling to its doom. And I like tie it off and I go. And I just kind of push the bird off and it flies off with the crystal around its leg. That way, if they find it, or if somebody else finds it, we are safe and the crystal does not meet its doom into the pits of nothing.
Interesting.
Well done.
So as you do that, and you watch the animal begin to fly in that direction, you're watching it just for a long time as it kind of disappears off into the azure. And for just a second, between two clouds that are sort of just swirling together, you see a rather large shape head off in that direction, as if moving through, following it.
I have to say, we all make a very good paranoid team.
Just because you are doesn't mean they aren't coming after you. Johnny, the other thing I want to do while we have time is I want to examine this cannon of mine.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right, I'll go down to the deck. I've handled these small kind of pieces before, I'm sure, with the Grimm's Gauntlet, and check to make sure it's check its range of motion. Check to make sure it's actually works. It's not like the barrel's not blocked. It's not going to blow up the first time if Lord, we have to fire it. Check to make sure everything's in working order, and it's swivel, up, down. Okay, good. All right, button. Familiarize myself with it. Do a little aiming. Shoot that cloud, that kind of thing, but not really fire it. Just familiarize myself with the controls to make sure I can handle it properly if need arises.
Okay. So as you're examining it, you realize that there is a little bit of a catch in its motion. And when you look down, you see that there is also something that is blocking the cable that kind of helps it kind of turn on its sort of pivot and access. And you realize that there's something has been placed there intentionally to prevent you from being able to use it.
Those assholes.
Delightful. Can I clear that particular blockage?
Oh yeah, just based on the idea of examining it and just kind of looking at it, you do so. And as you do so, you hear a distant noise just sort of coming from out there in the azure, a slight sort of rumble.
Kind of listen, keep working as I'm clearing it out, and that doesn't, it's like thunder or something else.
It sounds like thunder at first, but the second time you hear it, you realize that it's not thunder. And so for Red, as that noise happens, you hear it for the first time, and you begin to notice that there are more flocks of something sort of, flying around you, various winged creatures.
Guys, I think we're going to have company pretty soon.
They're rushing past us as if they're running from something?
No, there just appear to be more of them. You can see more flocks. This strikes you as something interesting, Cathbad. If you want to roll me an insight check.
Yeah, I was say, can I find? What knowledge do I have on them? Hang on, let me double check what my insight is. It's 12. I have not rolled very low tonight. It says time is now. Yes, nailed it. It was a 12.
All right, so Cathbad, as you begin to watch and you hear the distant roar, that sounds a little bit deeper and does not sound like thunder or lightning anymore, and it goes on longer. That reminds you of a creature. But as you're hearing that and you're watching sort of the way that these flocks are sort of moving in and out of the clouds as you are continuing towards whatever it is that the compass is pointing you towards, you recognize something about the movements and the behavior and realize that these are these are the types of activity of animals that are paying attention to a larger predator and trying to take up sort of they're picking up on the scraps of things.
Oh, these birds seem to be what's the word I'm looking for? They're like predators, and they're like buzzards. They're picking off the leftovers of something.
Right. So you're recognizing that these animals are doing that, and that the way that they're kind of flowing, and you see them sort of banking and arcing, but they appear to be keeping a distance of some kind as the roaring gets louder. What do you guys want to do?
I was going to say,
recognize or not?
You do not recognize it at all. It is a sound that is highly unusual for you.
Can I go faster?
No. Cathbad from the crow's nest goes, I see the creatures. They are feeding.
I run up to the cockpit and check that compass. Which are we heading along its direction? Are we heading right towards this thing?
You do. You are heading towards that thing. And for the first time, Red, you notice that the needle is now moving a little bit more erratically.
Johnny, remind me, where are we going? Besides to get another hearth crystal, where are we going? Did he actually tell us?
Yeah.
He did not.
Okay. Is there any reason why I would have been sent in this direction ever before?
Probably not.
That's
Of the four of you, Red may be the only person who's had this type of experience, but even Red doesn't know what's going on at this point.
Question, just because of Cathbad's, we'll call it connection to the worm, or the glades, piece. The kind of story that I had is that they fed her a piece of it, which is how she ended up being kind of who she is and connected to it. But in that, there was a level of like communication between her and what was left of the spirit of the swarm. Is this a space flying thing? An ancient creature of some kind?
So what you're saying is that you would have some sort of telepathic or sort of connected insight into this particular thing.
Sure. Yeah. Do I, or can I? Yeah, I guess you could say that. It's more of like my past connection with an ancient creature. Will it provide me insight into this moment if it is an ancient creature?
Yeah. Roll me an insight.
Ooh. Boy. Why are you not rolling? No. Nope. Was really hoping for that one.
Okay. So here's what happens. You try to tap into, sort of that, as you're paying attention to all this, you begin to tap into the sort of that sort of instinctual sort of connection that you have. And you feel overwhelmed because there are so many of these creatures that are just kind of flying around and doing their thing. You're getting all kinds of like, sort of, just various bits of like a sort of an emotional kind of, you're getting instinct of like, feeding and hunting and fear at the same time.
Right. Okay. But the sound, the like roaring noise or this thunderous type sound doesn't seem to be coming from these creatures. It seems to be coming from something else.
No, it seems to be coming from something else. As you all pass through another cloud of miasma, you kind of find yourself in this open space between large banks of these sort of miasmic sort of like cloud entities. And the burnt orange fades into an inky purple as an immense wall of miasma comes into view in the distance. This thing is just like this gigantic sort of, towering, swirling sort of, purple and orange, sort of, miasma just kind of coalescing. The rest of the sky is strangely calm as your compass points directly at this sort of swirling sort of mass. Red, what are you doing here?
Captain?
I don't know enough of the commands, Red.
Well, I'm mostly looking at you for a question of whether we want to go towards that or not.
Kind of bad. That's a lot of miasma, right?
It is. I don't know that any of you would survive.
Great. Red, any other course of action besides flying right into that?
I mean, we could,
keeps pointing, just moving like this, and
we could circle around it, but I mean, we're here.
Is it the compass seems to be pointing at this cloud?
Yep.
Okay.
Great. Is there so Johnny? What's the technology of this ship? Right, it's not a pirate ship. This isn't Mario 3. What is this? Right? Is there a comms system here? How advanced is the technology of this airship?
Well, what are you looking for specifically?
Or actually, is everyone in the cockpit with me?
Can be in the cockpit with you.
Yeah,
yes.
I would have come down.
Yeah,
Pretty much. I think we're all there. Yeah.
Yeah. You see him like bring up the Shemagh again and tighten it. Says, "All right, everyone, hold your breath. Red, punch it."
This is bad plan. Just wait.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
She reaches in her pouch and she pulls out this disgusting black tar in a jar. And she says, the miasma is simply particles in the air. This will not stop them.
Yeah, I figured.
This will. And she like goops this like sticky, it's like syrup meets tar, and she slathers it under her nose and over the top lip. And she says, now, when you breathe, the particles will stick instead of inhaling them.
Oh,
it's disgusting. It looks like she just put like military grade goop. And she says, would you like some?
That can't be real, but screw it. We're already made it this far.
She goes,
And he just puts it across his whole face and then puts the mug up and tightens it.
I think like this is the first time like Red does not look enthusiastic about like the things that we've done in this adventure so far. He just like dips his hand in.
She goes, this will work, I promise.
Hey, if it doesn't work, we're gonna die anyway.
Yeah, I'll dip fingers in and.
Yeah,
I've smelled worse, but I can't remember when.
She goes, well, you'll be glad to be able to continue to smell. The miasma will completely burn away your internal cavities.
Yeah, it's delightful.
And then Red punches it.
The airship shoots straight towards, as you can see this sort of towering, tempest of miasma just kind of swirling. And as you get closer, you begin to see faint sort of twinkling lights in there. And it's like a field of stars in the depth of the sort of this weird sort of purple and orange sort of like coalescing clouds. But you see these sort of stars that are just kind of shimmering there. They look really familiar. And the pinpoints of light begin to move a little bit with sort of this twinkling sort of hypnotic shimmer. And Red, you're sort of caught for a second as it's just kind of shimmering like that. And then unexpectedly, just as you're about to cross into the tempest, there is this huge roar. And out shoots from the side of you a colossal worm bursting from the dense bank of miasma. And this thing is like, it's gigantic. Imagine, think of like if you've ever seen the movie Dune, like the gigantic worms from that. It's just freaking 400 meters long and just gigantic and huge, and just its body is all sort of like encrusted with various crystals and everything. And you can see that those are shimmering. And it's beginning to swirl around you and just kind of turn red. It just, as you're about to hit the bank of miasma, what do you do?
So, is it, I mean, in the moment, I doubt I'm going to be able to tell this, but like, is it possible at all to tell whether this thing is at the worm or like at the miasma? Like, is there any way to discern that the compass is pointing to one or the other?
So that's the interesting thing. This thing bursts out and you watch the needle begin to turn and follow a certain part of the body of the worm.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so Red like begins like spinning the wheel, or maybe like it's probably like a bunch of like knobs and dials and levers, right? So he like starts like pulling and cranking on stuff, and he's like, all right, so that's the thing. We got like a worm hunt. I guess.
No, Captain says no. Do not hunt.
Are you nuts?
We do not have to kill it to retrieve the crystal.
Sure.
At battle stations, I head to the cannon.
If it will give us the crystal.
Well, either way, we're following it now.
She says, please, but it is too glorious to simply kill like some creature.
I mean, it looks like a giant slither spine to me.
What are you doing, Red?
Red's following it right now. Yeah, he's turning the ship. He's doing the thing.
Okay, it's turning, and it's turning around you and just kind of beginning to swirl up into the air, and it's moving at this crazy sort of catastrophic speed. It's unbelievably fast in what it's doing. It appears almost completely weightless, just how quickly it's able to move. And it just completely outdistances you very quickly as you begin to kind of follow it back towards, and it just kind of goes out, and you can see in this large sort of open space of the azure, in the setting sun, all the crystals are just kind of, shimmering on it, but it's turning, and now it looks like it's heading right towards you. And as it does, you can see that its mouth is beginning to open up.
Oh,
have I reached the cannon yet?
I don't know. Have you?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Is the crystal on the exterior? Can we tell which crystal it's pointed at?
As you're kind of looking at the needle as it's coming, as it straightens out, the needle just points right down the maw of this thing.
She says, do not shoot it. drive into its mouth.
Yeah, you see like this sinister smile.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, you see a sinister smile cross Nalos as he makes the same realization, and he looks back and goes, "Red, punch it."
This time, Catbat agrees. Yes, punch it.
Red like looks back and forth. It's like the mouth is covering the ship. There's like this moment. He's just like, there's an old tale they used to tell in the monastery about a man who was swallowed by a great beast like this. I was always wondering what it would be like. Just hits the button.
And the airship floors it gains all acceleration, and with the acceleration of the worm as it just kind of it gets swallowed up whole, and you hear the sort of the body of the ship start to groan as you begin to descend in until finally it stops, and you're stopped and it's quiet, and you can hear a little bit of a roar, and you feel the ship kind of move a little bit, and just off in the distance, just in front of you, you see a really bright glow way down into the distance. And it's shimmering and it's humming, and you realize that it is the Hearthstone crystal, because the compass itself, the shard itself, is beginning to vibrate, and it's just thrumming and it's humming, and that's where we're going to end it.
Perfect.
Yes!
All I can picture is like the Millennium Falcon when Luke is in the turret underneath. That's Talon. Punch it. What?
Yeah, I like.
Looking up into the cannon.
He's like, wait, can I buckle up first?
Hope you geniuses have figured out a way to get out of here once we have the crystal.
Yeah, we're gonna take the whole room with us. That being said, this has been another episode of Emberwind's Unsung, guys. This was a blast. I enjoyed the shit out of this episode.
Very nice.
So let's go around, do our introductions, and get the heck out of here and host a friend of ours. We'll start with first this time. Johnny, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to, my dude?
Video Store Cowboy, all over the internet as Video Store Cowboy, except on Twitter, where I can only do the 15 characters of Vid Store Cowboy. I'm currently in the middle of 28 Days of February streaming. I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn right now, and otherwise having a good time with that, doing a bunch of other little tabletop things, and it's been a blast. Thanks, guys.
Hell yeah. Let's jump right over to John. John, who are you? Where can we find you, and what are you up to, my dude?
Hey guys, Radio Johnny Panda here. When I'm not here on Tuesdays, getting into so much trouble with the rest of the party in Emberwind, I run my own campaign, which is supposed to happen tomorrow on Arvin Elrond's channel. I also we're playing Crystal Strahd D&D there as well. It's happening next week. I write, I edit, I do other stuff, but that's the bulk of it. So that's me.
Sweet. Let's jump right over to Sam. Sam, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to, my dude?
I'm Sam, twitch.tv/wizardfool, Twitter @thewizardfool. I'm only on this game right now, so this is where you gotta find me, but some other stuff in the pipeline. I had an absolute blast today. I thought today was like, sometimes when you're playing a role-playing game, like a little thing comes up and you're like, you know what? Yes, this is like the perfect thing for my character. It's like, that's how I felt with this airship thing. I was like, you know what? It just makes sense that Red would just be like into like sailing and airships and the whole concept. And now I have all these cool ideas integrating the monks and the airships and how it's involved in their culture. And I'm super excited about that. So that was an absolute blast.
That's awesome.
I had a great time today. Thanks, guys.
Sweet. And last but definitely unlike Johnny, not least, Dot, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
I am Little Red Dot. I am on the internet playing tabletop RPGs, spreading laughter, and telling stories. That's what I do. So if you want to be involved in any of that, you can check me out on Twitter or Twitch, where this week I will be doing a lot of video gameplay, RPG video gameplay, and closing out a campaign tomorrow night. My Fate of the Appliance Wars campaign closes out tomorrow night. So, if you need your brave little toaster fix, you just come right on over. And hopefully be starting some new things here very soon. So be on the lookout for announcements.
Sweet. And because Johnny is the worst, I will remind everybody that this Saturday, Johnny, tell me the time? Noon? Perfect.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. Eastern.
4 p.m. Pacific.
No one uses that. 7
yes,
p.m.
everybody
Eastern
uses
time.
Pacific. Nobody uses
7
Eastern.
p.m. Eastern time, you guys can check out a charity stream on Johnny's channel. Johnny is a member of the unMadeGaming charity team. Last year, we were able to raise over $10,000. This year, we're trying to break that even higher. So go check out that show. He is doing some Honey Heist, which is an awesome one-page RPG game. So definitely go check that out. And mark your calendars because the 23rd of February is our 12-hour streamathon to do the same thing. We're raising money for sick kids. That being said, if you guys want to support the channel in other ways, please, by all means, go to our Patreon, check that out. We're doing a lot of cool things, including a patron/sub-only game coming up soon. We had the premiere of it last week. And with that, we're going to go raid our friends and some of my wonderful favorite people over at the WebDM show. They're currently playing Starward Bound, so go check those guys out and give them all of your hot sticky raid love. And for all this to you guys, bye-bye.